students, greetings of the day. Welcome to AKTU e-lecture series. I, Dr. Vibhuti Tyagi, Professor and Head, Department of Management Studies, Rajkumar Goyal Institute of Technology, Ghaziabad, will be delivering the lecture on the subject Employee Relations and Labor Laws. We will be dealing with lecture 6 of Unit 2, and this lecture will be on the topic employee empowerment. We know that the term employee itself is a very important term, without which an organization cannot work. We cannot ignore this particular variable, that is employee. Now, when we say empowerment, it has two words, one is M and other is power. So, not only the power has to be given, but it has to be given in the extreme case, to the maximum extent it has to be given. Now, let us see what is employee empowerment and why it is important, why it is necessary to empower an employee. Empowerment is the process of giving employees in the organization the power, authority and responsibility, resources, freedom to take decisions and solve work related problems. So, what you are doing is you are giving a work to the employee, right. So, we are giving the work because he is an employee, he is a worker, but for doing that work what we are doing? As we all know that Fayol has given 14 principles, and out of these principles there is a one important principle which says authority and responsibility, they go hand in hand with each other. That means, if we have given an authority to a person, but we haven't given a responsibility, but at the same time we have given a responsibility to a person and we have not given an authority, in both the cases the result will be 0. Now, why the result is 0? Because I have given a work to a worker, I have given an authority to a worker, but I have not given a responsibility, and at the same time I have given a responsibility to a worker, but I have not given an authority, so he cannot take the decisions. So, empowerment is for that particular principle of Fayol only. So, let us see what it says. It says what we are giving is, we are giving the power, we are giving the authority and we are giving the responsibility. These are the three important things we have given, but here we have given one more thing, that is freedom to take decisions and solve work related problems, because every time in case we have not given him a right to take the decision. So, every time if there is any problem in the area where he is working and the manager is not present, he cannot take the decision and he will be waiting, but if he is waiting, that waiting may lead to the negative effect on the working of the organization. So, we have to give the freedom to the employees not only to take the decisions, but to solve the work related problem where he is in the organization. In order to take such initiatives and decisions, they are given adequate authority and resources. So, resources have to be given, authority has to be given. In case we are not giving resources, again the person cannot work. We can see today there is a need, there is we can see in the present scenario online mode has become highly prevalent. Everyone is working on an online mode. So, if we are not giving the computer or we are not giving the desktop to the employee, we are not giving the desktop to the manager, he cannot work. At the same time, the organization can also make the arrangements of providing them the laptops. So, if we are not doing such type of things, we are not providing them the proper resources, the employees, they cannot work effectively and efficiently. And authority, again authority and responsibility, I have to give the responsibility, so I have to give the authority. So, authority, responsibility, both the things have to be given to the employees, only then the efficiency and effectiveness of the employee can be measured. You cannot measure the effectiveness and efficiency of the employee just by seeing what he is doing and how he is doing. So, completion of a work is okay, but how do you complete the work, that has to be seen. It could also be defined as controlled transfer of authority to make decisions and take actions. Controlled transfer of authority is again important. You have given authority to a person, that does not mean that you are not giving him the boundary lines, because he is not the owner of the organization, and because he is not the owner of the organization, you have to provide him some boundary lines. Now, if you are providing him the boundary lines, he will be working within those boundaries only. Now, if he is working within those boundaries only, then the chances of taking the hasty decisions or chances of taking the quick decisions, chances not quick decision, we will say chances of taking the wrong decisions, such type of chances are always reduced if the authority which is given to them is control. That means somebody is there for which they are accountable. So, accountability is also necessary. It does not, empowerment does not mean that you give them authority, you give them responsibility. It means that you give them authority, you give them responsibility, but at the same time you have to give them accountability also. That means they should know to whom they are accountable to. Next, it enables a person to develop personally and professionally. So, when we use the term personally, that means the participation of employee is there. When we say personally, that means the involvement of employee is there. Now, when involvement of employee is there, it means that the employee will be working by his mind and by his heart. That is known as mental and emotional attachment. So, both there is mental and there is emotional attachment. Now, when we use these terms, that means what we are doing is, we are making the employees personally and professionally sound in the organization. But this personally and professionally sound in the organization can only be done when you are giving them power to take the decisions and solve the problems as and when they arise. Empowerment is the key to motivation and productivity. So, an employee will be motivated or he will be highly productive only when he knows that he is having power. Now, whenever we have a power in the organization, we feel ourselves to be one of the important part of the organization, and it is assumed that if this part does not work properly, the organization cannot grow. An organization requires such type of employees only, who not only work as workers, but they work as an important partner of the organization, because it is the partner only who is working for the betterment and uplifting of the organization. So, uplifting of the organization is totally depending on the uplifting of the employees, and employees can be uplifted only when they are empowered and their participation in the working of the management is there. So, I suppose through this slide we are very much clear as to what is employee power empowerment and why it is needed in the organization. But still we have to go and we have to see more areas where this employee empowerment, if given to the employees, there is an importance. Increasing pace of change, turbulence of environment and the changing expectations of customer. So, as we all know that the word change has become inevitable today, because if you believe that no change will take place, that means that you are not growing. So, today what is happening, that this change in technology is taking place at a very high pace. It is continuously taking place, especially in case of electronic goods. Take the example of your smartphones. They are continuously changing, 3G, 4G, 2G, 5G. So, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G. So, what is this? This is a change in technology. At the same time, the environment is also changing. Previously, all the products, they were being sold in the same country only, but today because of this globalization, you can find out the product of any country, and therefore, this export import policies have also changed, and today the expectations of customers has also changed. Now, when the expectations of customer has also changed, the quality of product and the quantity of product has also changed. Today we cannot have a single product. If we are going in the market to buy a toothpaste, so for that toothpaste we will have so many brands, and under those brands also we will have so many types of products. So toothpaste is one of the product, but we will have different combinations of this product. So it is necessary that if you are not empowering the employees will not feel themselves to be comfortable, and therefore they will not be able to utilize their capabilities to the maximum extent. So it is necessary that in the present scenario where technology is changing, where globalization is changing, and where globalization is taking place, environment is changing. So in such type of situation, it is necessary that you should give the authority, responsibility and power in the hands of the employees, so that the employees they take the decision. But the important thing is they should be accountable to someone or the other. The impact of downsizing, delayering and decentralization. Again, downsizing means previously there were so many layers, there was a very big gap between employee and the top management, but today it is downsizing. That means the layers between, or the levels between the employee and between the management has reduced. Now when this layer or the level between the employee and the management has reduced, therefore it is necessary that you should give the authority to the employees, the power to the employee should be given, the authority to the employee should be given, so that the employee is working for the benefit of the organization. He is not working like an employee, he is working like the partner. So in this case also, in case of employee empowerment also, there is decentralization of authority. Decentralization of authority means the authority is not centralized. Authority lies with everyone who is in direct contact with the work. He has the authority to work. Cross functional working and greater integration in organizational process. Cross functional, that means today we do not have a person who is specialized in only one area. We have the employees who are trained in many areas. An HR person will go in the market also to find out what are the sales. At the same time, the HR person will also go in the accounts and the finance to find out how the ledger and balance will be prepared. And in banks also we can see that we do not find a person who is sitting at one position throughout the life. But we can see in the present scenario, almost in all the banks, you will find out that the employees, they will be working as manager or assistant manager on rotation basis. That means everyone has a chance to see how the work is being done, and everyone has a chance to find out the way the work is being done, so that in case some employee leaves the organization, there is no lacuna, or there is no vacant, or there is no gap in the organization. So this cross functional working is very important. So in this cross functional working, you will have to, the employer or the management has to give the authority and the responsibility to the employee. Now when you give the authority and responsibility, that means you are giving him a right to take the decisions, and you are giving him a right to solve the problems as and when it arises. Then integration means the organizational processes, they are changing day by day, and there are many things which are being clubbed with each other. For example, we have many things. We can see a person who can work in marketing area also, he can work in HR area also. Why he can work? Because there are many areas which are very common to each other. So integration of organizational processes is also there, and these processes, they require the involvement of employees to such an extent that they cannot wait for the decisions to be taken. Satisfaction of higher level needs. We know that there are 5 levels of needs. Physiological needs, then we have, then these physical needs can be easily settled down. Then we have security needs, they can also be settled down. But the higher level needs, that is self esteem and self actualization needs, they cannot be easily settled down by these salaries, incentives or bonus. Now for this higher level need, that is self actualization means that this is the need which you really want to do. For example, you are working as a production manager, but your need is to have an idea and to have a new product for that company. So, if you have that type of need, that can be fulfilled only when a power is given in your hands, only when an authority and responsibility is given in your hands. So, these higher level needs, that is self esteem, self actualization, these type of needs, they can be fulfilled only when the power or only when the status of employee is being uplifted, and that status can be uplifted only when they have the power, authority and responsibility. Next, provide opportunities to the employees at lower levels to develop their competencies. There are very big houses where the employees, they work for a longer period of time at the lower level. So, they will remain at the lower level for a longer period of time, but it does not mean that they do not have the creativity in them, or they do not have the competencies with them, they do not have the capabilities with them. But the only thing is that the top level, they are not able to see it, because they do not have the right to take any decisions, they do not have the right to have these ideas being shown, they do not have the authority, they do not have the power to do that, they cannot place their ideas in front of any other person. So, if these authorities, these responsibilities or these type of freedom is given to the employees, these employees can easily develop their creativities, and their creativities will automatically come out, and these type of creativities and capabilities, they are always beneficiary for the organization and their growth. We can easily see in case of automobile industries, every year we have so many vehicles, so many four-wheelers in the market, and every four-wheeler has one or the other creative feature attached to it. Sometimes we have the power window, at this other time we will have the front two power windows, and the back windows may not be a power window. So, these are all creative ideas which are not there with the management. That means, the management or the higher position, they are not the idea generator. These ideas are being generated by the lower level employees only. Now, these lower level employees, they have the competencies, and these competencies are being developed only when they are giving a space to do it, and this space is always given by the top management. So, this is the need of employee empowerment. Employee has to be empowered. If you are not empowering the employees, this employee empowerment is basically a type of intrinsic motivation. As we all know that there are motivating factors, but there are certain factors which can be seen and which cannot be seen. Now, employee empowerment is a factor which cannot be seen. So, if a person is satisfied, he will be highly motivated, and his satisfaction level, it depends upon whether he has a right to do the things as per his own ideas, as per his own as per the way he wish to do it. The only thing which the organization has to see is that somebody has to be there to which he is accountable, so that his performance is measured, so that it can be find out whether the performance which he is showing is up to the point or not. So, through this slide, what we can see is, through this slide we can easily see that the employees, they have to be empowered. If the management is thinking that they can give the monotonous job to the employees, then in that case, after some time, the employee will either become static, he will become static, or he will be of no use to the organization. He is just doing the job once the job is given to him. In case the job is not given to him, he will not do the things. Now, what are the different types of employee empowerment? The empowerment or the power to the employee cannot be given in the same way, or the level of empowerment cannot be same for all the employees. The level of empowerment, it totally depends upon the job, to what extent that job is, what is the competency, or what is the capacity of the job. If the job has high capacity, it has high content, or it is very important to the organization, then in that case the involvement of employee or the empowerment or the power which is given to the employee has to be calculated. The first is suggestion involvement. Employees are encouraged to contribute ideas through formal suggestion programs or quality circles. Now, let us see the term, what are these quality circle, or we can first of all let us see what is suggestion involvement. Now, you are not involving the employee in taking the decisions, but here you are involving the employee to give the suggestion. So, you have an idea, you are placing the idea in front of employee and you are asking the employee about his suggestions. So, whether the idea which is being generated by the management is acceptable or something new has to be introduced, that is being taken care in this type of involvement. Now, the important thing here is quality circles. Quality circles, these are one of the important way of involving the employees in taking the suggestions. Now, these quality circles are the group of employees from different departments who sit together, maybe weekly or monthly or fortnightly, and they discuss on certain issues and they try to find out certain solution to the problems which may arise at their workplace or at their shop floor, or the ideas generated by the higher authorities, they may be discussed and the suggestions for those ideas are being given. So, this is like a type of superficial involvement. You are involving the employee, but you are not accepting the decisions which are being taken by them. So, decisions may or may not be taken by them, but the suggestions are given by the employees. So, employees, they feel themselves to be the important element. Second is job involvement. In this type of empowerment, the jobs are redesigned so that employees use a variety of skills. You have a job for an employee, but in that job he is supposed to do only few things. Take the we can take the example of time management officer. So, his job is only to see at which time the employee is coming to the organization, at which time he is leaving, but you can redesign that job. Now, in redesigning the job, you can involve the employees and you can involve that employee who can redesign his job. So, now his job is not only to manage the time, but his job is to find out ki in this much time what was the performance of employee also. So, what you are doing is you are redesigning, and in redesigning you are trying to have the maximum use of the skill. So, competency or the capability which the employee is having, you are using it to the maximum extent. We can have a very good example of a gatekeeper. Let us have the example of a gatekeeper. Now, in case you have a gatekeeper, his work is only to open and close the gate. This is a very monotonous job in the organization. He just opens the gate and he just closes the gate. Now, you can redesign his job so that it does not remain a monotonous job. You can ask him what are the things you can do, you can add on to your job. So, instead of just opening and closing the gate, he can also manage the time. He can also measure certain things. He can also ask the visitors who are coming to fill the form. So, these are the things which can be included in his job. So, you can redesign the job so that the skill of the employees can be used to the maximum extent, and it can be used only when you are trying to redesign. Otherwise, the job will always remain a monotonous job. So, that is known as job involvement. Now, the third thing we have is high involvement. This is the most important thing. Here, the decisions are being taken. High involvement organizations give their lowest level employees a sense of involvement, not just in how they do their jobs or how effectively their group performs, but in the total organization's performance. So, you can ask the person or you can ask the employee to find out what his performance is. This is one thing. Second is, he should find out the performance of his group. This is second thing. But what you are doing is, you are involving the employee in finding out the performance of the organization. What is the performance of the organization? So, here the involvement of employee is very high. the involvement of employee is very high, and the decisions may also be taken by the employee, but at the same time it is very necessary for the management to see, it is very necessary for the higher authorities to see that the decision which is taken by the lower level employee, whether it is acceptable to the organization or not. Sometimes it happens that the decisions which are taken by the employees are for their benefit only. So the employees, what they are doing is, they are taking the decision because it is for their benefit, but it may or may not affect the organization. It may or may not affect the organization, that means there is always a risk. So just involving an employee does not gives him a power. Employees have to be involved, it has to be, power has to be given, but accountability has to be there. What are the benefits? We have seen the need, we have seen the importance, we have seen the types. So when we have seen the types of employee empowerment, that means what we have seen is, we can involve the employees from 0 to infinity. When we are having 0, then we will have to see the level of involvement, and at the same time we have to see the level of area also. What is the area in which we are involving them, whether that area is very important or not. For example, the decisions which are related to the security, in that decisions the involvement of employees cannot be very high when it comes to the security, but when it comes to the increase in the production, in that case the involvement of employees can be there. So we have seen all these things, ki the level empowering of employee does not mean that you empower the employees and you forget that. No, it should not be there. You have to give the power to the employees, and at the same time you have to give the accountability also. The employee empowerment and its benefits. Now when we see the benefits of employees, it increases the productivity. When increase in productivity, that means you are giving the power to the employees. So employees, they are keeping or thinking themselves to be the very important, their status is always enhanced. They are intrinsically motivated, and when they are intrinsically motivated, they try to work for the organization, and when they try to work for the organization, they do not hesitate in working more. So there is increase in production. Reduce cost. Why there is reduction in cost? Because the satisfaction level of employees is high. Now when satisfaction of level of employees is high, the first thing is absentee rate is less, turnover is less, and the wastage is also less. Now when all these three things are there, the cost which is being incurred by the organization is also reduced. So there is no cost incurred because there is no wastage. Then the third thing is we have is improved quality, because the employees, they feel that anything which happens to the organization is directly affecting them. So if it is directly affecting them, then they will definitely look to the quality also. Competitive edge. Today's word is a competitive word, but in this word we can win only when all the elements of the organization, they work together. Now when we say all the elements, the two important elements are the management and the employee. So if we wish to win in this competitive edge, it is necessary that the employees have to be empowered, and they should know how to take the decisions and when to take the decision. Better job satisfaction. The employees are highly satisfied because they have status and they have standard in the organization, they have a level in the organization. Retention rate is high because the employees, they retain in the organization, their turnover is very less, their absentee rate is also very less, and they wish to work for the organization where importance is given to them. And such type of organization, they are always in the growth stage because all their pillars, they are working together. But there are certain barriers to this empowering employees. The first thing is organizational culture. Certain incongruent organization culture means there are certain organizations which are highly bureaucratic, and these organizations, they do not wish to change their culture, and therefore they do not want their employees to be involved. Rigid control system, all the managers or the management, they wish to have the control in their own hands, therefore they do not allow the employees to take the decisions. Then inadequate delegation of authority, that means the authority is not properly delegated, it is not decided to whom this authority will be delegated and whether the delegation of authority has taken place in the right manner or not. Now with this we end with this topic of employee empowerment. So thank you very much.